Hello everyone. Today, we're going to tell you the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a village nestled deep in the woods, there lived a sweet and innocent girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was known throughout the village for her red hooded cloak, which she wore all the time. Her grandmother, who lived on the other side of the forest, had made it for her. One sunny morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother called her and said,
"Little Red Riding Hood, your grandmother is not feeling well. She's in a cottage on the other side of the forest. Take this basket of goodies, some fresh bread, butter, and a pot of her favorite jam. Be sure to stay on the path and don't talk to strangers."
Little Red Riding Hood promised to be careful and set off through the forest with her basket. Along the way, she encountered a sly and cunning wolf who had noticed her beautiful red cloak.
"Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?"
The wolf asked with a sly grin.
"To my grandmother's house,"
she replied. The wolf, with evil intentions, hatched a plan. He said,
"Why don't you take the scenic route through the forest? It's so lovely this time of year, and you might even pick some flowers for your grandmother."
Little Red Riding Hood, not knowing any better, agreed to the wolf's suggestion. She strayed from the path and started picking flowers. Meanwhile, the wolf rushed ahead to reach the grandmother's cottage. He knocked on the door, and when the old lady answered, he tied her up and hid in her bed, wearing her nightcap. When Little Red Riding Hood finally arrived at her grandmother's cottage, she was surprised to find the door open. She entered cautiously and saw what she thought was her grandmother lying in bed.
"Grandmother, what big eyes you have!"
she exclaimed.
"All the better to see you with, my dear,"
replied the wolf in a raspy voice. Little Red Riding Hood, growing more suspicious, continued,
"Grandmother, what big ears you have!"
"All the better to hear you with, my dear,"
the wolf replied. Now very worried, Little Red Riding Hood said,
"Grandmother, what big teeth you have!"
The wolf couldn't hide his true identity any longer. With a snarl, he leapt out of the bed, revealing his sharp teeth.
"All the better to eat you with, my dear."
But before he could harm Little Red Riding Hood, a nearby huntsman heard her screams and rushed to the cottage. He arrived just in time to save the girl, and with a swift swing of his axe, he scared the wolf away. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother were safe and grateful, and thanked the hunter for saving them. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood learned to always stay on the path and never talk to strangers. And the villagers were more cautious in the woods, knowing that danger could lurk in unexpected places. Participants can choose to draw a different scene or character from the story, exploring different ways the characters can look like based on the participants' creativity. Collaboratively create a modern-day version of Little Red Riding Hood. How would the story change if it took place in today's world? Encourage participants to consider technology and contemporary challenges. Provide participants with a blank map and ask them to plot the journey of Little Red Riding Hood from her home to Grandma's house. They can include landmarks and obstacles she encounters along the way. Provide participants with a set of story events. For example, Little Red Riding Hood meets the wolf, Grandma's house, Hunter arrives. Ask them to arrange these events in the correct sequence to retell the story accurately. Organize a role-playing session where each participant takes on the role of a character from the story. They can act out scenes or create new dialogues, exploring different character perspectives. Have participants conduct interviews with the story's characters. They can prepare questions and answers as if they were journalists or talk show hosts, gaining a deeper understanding of the characters' motivations. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's story. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notifications of new stories. Please like, share, and comment to give your feedback. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's story and hope to see you next time. Please